My name is Maya. I'm 34 years old. I live alone in a small apartment on the second floor of a quiet street in Portland. The apartment has old wooden floors that creak when I walk and a kitchen window that always sticks when I try to open it. It's not perfect, but it feels safe. There's a chair by the window, a worn-out blue armchair with soft cushions, and a throw blanket I bought from a flea market. That chair has become my place. Every morning, I sit there with a cup of coffee, watching life move outside. A bakery across the street opens early, and the smell of warm bread floats through the air. I watch strangers walking dogs, kids rushing to school, couples sharing quiet mornings. People often say, "You have such a peaceful life." They see the calm, but not the storm I walked through to get here. 3 years ago, I was living in Seattle with a man named Arjun. We were together for 6 years. He was my first real love, smart, kind, and steady. We met in college. He lent me a book on a rainy day, and I never gave it back. That's how it began. For years we built what everyone called a perfect relationship. We traveled, saved money, went to family events, made plans for a house. He talked about children, and I smiled, even though something inside me felt unsure. The truth is, I didn't want the same things. I told myself I'd change, that maybe one day I'd wake up and want the house, the kids, the routine. I thought love meant adjusting yourself to fit into someone else's dream. I was wrong. Over time, I started shrinking. I stopped painting. I stopped laughing loudly. I stopped dreaming. The day I left, I didn't pack everything, just one suitcase, my journals, and the photo from our first trip together. A reminder that it was once real, that I wasn't cruel, that I just couldn't keep pretending. I moved to Portland because I didn't know anyone here. I wanted to disappear and start over. But running from pain doesn't make it go away. It follows you quietly, like a shadow in the hallway after the move. I cried almost every day for the first few months, not because I missed Arjun, but because I missed the version of me that used to feel joy. I spent my days editing manuscripts for a living, reading stories of other people's lives, while mine stood still. At night, I would sit in my chair by the window, watching lights flicker in other homes. I wondered if those people were happy, or just pretending like I once did. One night, I wrote in my journal, "You can leave a house, but it's harder to leave the sadness you carried inside it." I started taking walks by the river. There was a bench near the water I liked. I sat there and watched birds land on rocks, water ripple in the wind, leaves fall without a sound. Nature didn't force itself to heal. It just flowed. Maybe I could too. Pottery Classy found a flyer one afternoon outside a tiny coffee shop. It said, "Pottery for beginners. Make something with your hands. Let your heart rest." I went. I didn't think much of it, but it changed something in me. The class was small, only 7 of us, and Teresa, our teacher, a woman in her 60s who wore long scarves and always smelled like cinnamon and old books. The first time I touched the clay, it collapsed. I laughed a little. Teresa came over, placed her hand on my shoulder and said, "It's okay. Everything collapses before it shapes into something new." I didn't know it then, but she was right. Every Tuesday, I went back. My hands started shaping bowls, cups, vases, and slowly so did my soul. I made friends. I started smiling. One night, after class, I stayed late to clean up. A man named Jonah was there. We hadn't spoken much before. He helped me sweep the floor and said, "It's strange how quiet people carry the loudest stories." I didn't answer, but I remembered those words for days. Jonah and I started talking. Just little things at first. Books, music, food. He was different. He didn't ask too many questions. He listened. He didn't try to fix me. He didn't ask about my past until I was ready. And when I was, he said, You don't owe me the version of you that smiles all the time. We never became a couple. We just became companions in healing. We took walks, shared coffee, sat in silence when needed. It was beautiful, in its own quiet way. Letters to myself. I started writing letters to myself. Some I kept, some I tore up. One said, Maya, it's okay to start again at 34, or 44, or 64. You don't need permission to choose yourself. Another said, you weren't selfish for leaving. You were brave enough to not lie for the rest of your life. A message from Arjun one day. I got a message. It was from Arjun. Hi Maya. Just wanted to say I hope you're doing well. I think I understand now. I wish you peace. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I replied, Thank you, Arjun. I hope you're happy too. I'm learning how to be whole. That was the last time we spoke. New beginnings. I now live in a small studio near the bookstore I visit often. I painted the walls a soft yellow. I keep fresh flowers in a jar. I started painting again. Just watercolors for now. I cook for myself. I laugh at shows. I even learned how to make banana bread. Some days I still feel sad. Healing isn't a straight road. It's a path with stops, setbacks, and sudden sunshine. But I no longer feel empty. I feel honest. One night, I looked in the mirror and said out loud, I'm not lost anymore. I'm just learning how to walk. To anyone listening, if you've read this far, maybe you've felt what I felt. Stuck, guilty, afraid to hurt someone kind, afraid to be alone, afraid to speak your truth. Let me say this. You are not a bad person for leaving a good one. You are not broken for needing time alone. You are not selfish for wanting to feel love. Real love, not duty. Life isn't about getting everything right. It's about being real. And sometimes, being real is the bravest thing we can do. If my story touched you, leave a comment or share it with someone who needs to hear these words. More stories like this are coming. Until then, take care of your heart. Listen to your silence. It always knows the truth.